I have some questions for both of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, given the vast variety of interpretations of the hadith and claims made about their validity and their authenticity, do you think it will become necessary at some point, or is it already necessary at this moment for the ex-Muslim community to start and develop some sort of expertise in the field of hadiths and the Quran? Like, do you think, for example, we should, like, some of us should, go through that systematic and scholarly education, from whichever university it may be, preferably a reputable one, to actually.
Shotgun, not me, Zagros. I am not spending a
Right,
year
sure.
abroad in Egypt to study science hadith. Thank
Honestly,
you.
hell no, I wouldn't do that either. But like, I was thinking, like somebody like that guy Marin Van Putten, or Shadi Nasser, some sort of education like they have received from a Western, like, proper university, not some Muslim, like, university. Because, like, whenever we present arguments or proof or evidence, to support an argument that we are making with regards to the dangers and the harms of Islam, we are faced with these counter arguments as to the validity and the authenticity of the hadith in an arbitrary fashion, which I have not really seen any of us, fully and professionally refute and dispute. So I think you get the point. I'm high as fuck, by the way. So if I keep going on, just cut me off.
Zagros, happy
You're
Sunday.
not the only one.
Thank you.
Ours every time. Oh goodness.
Okay, so do you want to go first, Nuria, or
you can go first if you want.
okay? So I've said it before. I've said it that sooner or later, or actually not later, preferably very soon, we're gonna see ex-Muslim muftis, scholars of Islam, who are going to end up becoming ex-Muslims, because we've seen that people leave Islam not necessarily for the deep knowledge of the fiqh and Islam itself. People leave Islam for its application. People leave Islam, and when they see anyone who can compare the two, for example, anyone who can develop basic understanding of evolution, Abrahamic faith straight out the window. That's it, gone. But time and time again, we ask, how come people, very intelligent people, still believe in the Quran? Yasir Qadhi has acknowledged evolution. Shabir Ali has acknowledged evolution. Mufti Abu Layth has acknowledged evolution. But then why these people don't become atheists? Why don't they let go of Islam altogether? It's because childhood indoctrination, we cannot underestimate it. It's so strong. And to me, for some reason, I actually think that, it's got nothing to do with intellect. And as I was saying, this blindfold of reverence, people, even if they are presented these arguments, in black and white, their mind is telling them that there's something wrong in my worldview of Islam. But they still fall short of denouncing Islam altogether. So there could have been other social aspects behind that as well. What am I going to do? I live in a world where I'm going to be the only ex-Muslim atheist, so better not to rock the boat. So they end up rocking the boat because they draw inspiration from people like you and me. They're going to say, well, hang on, he did it. He's alive. He's got his head above his shoulder, albeit still living in a borrowed time. Or I have to watch my back for the rest of my life. But there is a chance. There is hope. So we've already seen some very knowledgeable people. I shared this a while ago. There was a YouTuber with 80,000 subscribers. He was writing a refutation of my book. Midway through, I think halfway through, he said he ended up leaving Islam. He said it's impossible to defend Islam. The guy was a da'i, had a big beard. but he hasn't come out publicly for some reasons. But we've spoken, and it's like, whoa, hang on. So we have seen dies, we've seen, and it's only a matter of time when you're going to see a mufti. We've seen Hafiz Quran. We shared the story of this guy he did a whole mufti course. He's not a mufti, but I think he's he's a scholar of Islam. He's a mufti. The young guy from Kerala, he ended up leaving Islam. And we're going to, unfortunately, he doesn't speak Hindu, Urdu, or English. I think he speaks Kerala language, Telugu, I think that's what it's called. So it's only a matter of time. This crumbling wall of Islam is going to fall down, and we're going to get these muftis of Islam. We're going to get these PhDs out of the Yale or, Harvard or whichever universities allow these kind of religious theological studies. We're going to get them. We're going to have the same kind of renaissance and far more impactful than the one we've seen in the Western world. So we're going to see that. It's just a matter of time. Now, as far as we're concerned, it's too late. I can't go to Al Azhar University. I can't go to Medina University. I'll be killed. And to go back, piggyback from my original point, we can still make people leave Islam rather than, telling them, hey, look at the science of it. It's a very small group of people still who when you show them Aisha's age being 9, and that's wrong, very small number of people say, no, she wasn't 9, she was 18. And they borrow that argument from a even much weaker hadith. It's not even a direct hadith. It actually goes with the age of Aisha's sister, who ended up living 7 years after Muhammad's death, and apparently she was 10 years older than Aisha. So that's how they do calculate. But that's only one narration, and that's not respected either. So those are a minority. That's a minority of people. Majority of people do believe in that. And they say, no, hadith is true. So you don't have to even argue with them that, hey, whether the hadith is sahih or wrong. You can always appeal to the authority because they value appeal to authority. So we can always do that. And even with that, we are successful in making people look through Islam and leave Islam. So I always say this, horses for courses. People are going to end up leaving Islam. People are going to become more firm in Islam. My approach might be different. Abdullah Gondal or Samir's or Ghalib's or Apostate Prophet's approach might be different. But watch out, Muslims. We are nothing. You're going to get a far, far worse onslaught on Islam. There are going to be people who are going to be making cartoons of Muhammad. They're going to be people who are going to be desecrating the Quran. And they're going to be those people. They're going to do it. I may not do it. I haven't done it. I haven't gone to that extreme because, that's my way of doing business. But it's coming. You can't even sustain us. How are you going to sustain them? Yeah, good luck. Keep preparing Hakikatu and keeping people like him, his cheerleaders. Good luck. Go tell the world that, women empowerment is terrible. Child marriage is wholesome. Human rights is extremism. Good luck. Good luck convincing not the Western people. The Western people are not going to buy that. Good luck convincing your future generations yourself. They're not going to buy it.
Nuria,
Yeah.
do you share Harris's relative optimism, or
Yeah,
what
I
are
mean,
your views?
overarchingly, yeah, I agree with what he's saying. But to answer your point specifically on this going back to understanding and becoming exemplary and understanding the hadith and the way that they kind of see it in terms of their scholarship, I think I'm not sure how, in my opinion, how fruitful or productive that would be. There are already quite a lot of ex-Muslim scholars out there who were once very well heavily trained in hadith and fiqh and those kind of things, and they run their YouTube channels in a way where it's heavily focused on that. So they literally answer fiqh with fiqh, and they answer the isnad traditions with whatever. They go into it heavily. They're reciting hadith off the top of their heads. But so there's that. There are already some of them in this space, and they can focus more on that element. Second of all, I think a lot of a lot of the traditions that have come down anyway, anytime we show hadith, even though this is from their main collections now that have been fully graded and they've been passed by their own kind of benchmark of what's graded authentic or not, we show those exact hadiths, and there's always going to be problems and discrepancies and mental gymnastics and cognitive dissonance. Every single time you do that, they will keep pushing the goalpost, even though that's all we have to cling on to is the Quran, the Hadith, and the Sunnah and Sharia for what it is. That those are like our playing cards, if you will. So yeah, I think like trying to constantly pander, even if it's in the way of let's get, you know, one up on them and let's get as well versed as them, is not going to be as productive, because they will just constantly be pushing the goalpost. And also, again, everything is out there online. Like even when I was doing my streams with Lloyd, for example, he has the final conclusive judgments from Al-Azhar University on the actual grading of hadith. So technically, you and I, any layperson, when we're engaging with Muslims in that sense, can always go back and say, well, this was the final verdict from Al-Azhar University. So why, I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think anybody needs to spend years at those Islamic universities. It's a bit of a waste of life, if you ask me. But I get where you're coming from. But at the same time, we have access to it, and we know you can go into as much detail as you want. You can see how the hadiths are graded, you can see the classifications, and then you can see the percentiles as well. And then obviously you follow Islamic sources, whoever you're talking to, whatever they accept, you show them. But again, that's why overarchingly I agree with what Haris is saying, because at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do. The things that we have to say are like, look at the morality, look at the science, look at, you know, all of these basic things, which are, according to your own standards, from the very scriptures that you have passed off as fundamental to Islam. And so the Quran is always great, even if there's discrepancy around the hadith. I think personally the Quran is damaging enough on its own, even if you're if you were to throw out all of the hadith tomorrow because let's say it's too problematic to engage with Muslims about it, the Quran still has all of those, you know, capital punishments. It's got all that hate speech. It's got the marriage to prepubescent girls. It's got men having the unilateral right to divorce. It's got all of these things. And then also so many gaps in Islam. So this is a problem I think Muslims need to figure out. Just because their chains of narration and this, like, you know, literally hearsay on hearsay on hearsay that the hadith are, this is their problem. It's just more like a weapon in our armor to say, this is what you rely on. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, actually it does.
If you like these videos and want to support me in my activism, then you can support me on Patreon or PayPal. Stay free, everyone.